G'day guys, welcome back to another episode of Fon Supercoach. Today we will be reviewing round two. I'll do it a little bit differently this week to last week. I'll probably just go through my team and my thoughts for trades, captains, plays that are killing me, both owning and not owning, and that sort of thing. So yeah, let's get into it. Round two, we scored 1,879, which was, well, to be frank, putrid compared to last week. It could have been a lot worse. I did change my trades very close to the bounce of the Friday game, so we'll discuss that when we get into the team. But we are unfortunately down to a season rank of 14,742, which is a bit of a disaster. The main tickets for that were Tom Stewart injury. So having that 9 on field was pretty painful. Losing a primo score, that's probably 40 or 50 points in and of itself. And then I had Christian Petrarca as the captain, which stung me as well. That's another 40 or 50 points. So, you put 80 points onto that and all of a sudden it's a much more reasonable score and I'm probably 5K ranks higher, but it is what it is. I think I'm about 200 points behind the absolute top. So it's not, we're not out of reach yet, but we would want to be making a better fist of my captain's options this week. So yeah, let's get into the team. So yeah, I ended up boosting last week. So before the bounce, I swapped from the bounce of the Friday game. I swapped from, what did I have? I had two. I think I had Sardis and Garcia to Lindsay and Ashcroft, and then before the bounce of this game, I swapped from that to Perryman and Garcia to Dale and Lindsay, and I had them both on field. Oh, this is not how I lined up. Let's just do that really quickly. So I lined up like this. So yeah, I had them both on field. Dale was really good on debut. He just, every kick in he gets, it's like short, like 20-meter pass, and then handball receive into like a 45-meter laser beam to a teammate's chest. So that was a very enjoyable own. I think he is going to be quite good this season. I don't think Fraser had too many CBAs this week as well, so I'm not overly concerned that once Bond and Trelaw come back, Dale is overly affected. But yeah, he was terrific on debut. Probably a captain's option. I don't know about this week. I need to do more research on defenders against Carlton, but we will see. And then Tom Stewart got injured on the 9. He was getting tagged anyway, so like he probably gets to a 75 or an 80, but the problem is his break even is absolutely shockers now, 184. I think he's historically pretty poor against Brisbane as well. Oh no, that's a great game. He got concussed at halftime in this game. I remember that was the Tom Stewart injury last year, which I also owned him through. So yeah, that's terrific. This is what happens with Tom Stewart. Maybe this is a sign not to start him, but you keep thinking, I'm telling you, keep thinking 1 year he's going to get a good run of it. And this year he's getting CBAs and then dropping behind the ball. Like it's a really good role for Supercoach. But yeah, then that happens. So that was very unfortunate, but it is what it is. And then Matt Roberts got some great scaling in this game when the Dockers did a Melbourne and they snatched defeat from the jaws of victory. So well played to the Swans. But yeah, Matt Roberts was really good and he has been a joy to own so far. And then Jaden Short. This 71 could have been so much worse. He took 1 out of, I want to say like 13 or 14 kick-ins. All the kick-ins went to Ben Miller. Now, I can't fathom that as a spectator. I don't understand why the coaching staff would draw it up that way. That is a big concern, a massive concern. And I'm half considering flipping Short this week to a Zorko just because it'll net me more points on field. And Zorko's going to go bananas, I think. Like, he's got so many good matchups coming up. He's had 2 good ones. Like, I'll talk about Zorko after I go through my team, but he's the one that's really hurting me at the moment that I don't own. And then to Koning, really needed him to cash in on this Saints matchup. I would not be advising people to trade into this. I think this is going to become a problem pretty quickly. Like, Geelong's fixture's pretty brutal now. It's like McInerney, Gawn, and Rob. So I think against Melbourne, we saw what Melbourne dished up this week. Like, he could probably score playing behind the ball pretty well. He could probably go, an 85 maybe, which would be that'd be a huge result. But you don't want to rely on that sort of role that's not very conducive to good Supercoach scoring. So yeah, this is a little bit of a concern, which is why I'm hesitant. We'll talk about Short. I don't think you should trade Short this week because he has the Saints. Saints is a great matchup. If we see the kick-ins come back, I think he still gives us that 95 that I sort of expected in the preseason. Obviously, it hasn't panned out yet. But Port's a tough matchup for halfbacks, so I'm not overly worried about this. And we saw that with Trainer as well, really struggled to score. Trainer has a lot of clangers. That's going to be part of playing for Richmond. But I'm surprised we haven't seen more of this chip mark style that we were told about in the preseason. Like, where's that gone? So obviously Richmond were really good in round 1 and 1, and you're not going to play like that if you're trying to win games of footy. But then, like, Port Adelaide, that was a shellacking. So yeah, I don't know. I think the Richmond game style will slow down as they try and avoid getting absolutely belted each week. So yeah, that was a bit frustrating. I did run him on field over Pryor and Reid, which didn't end up costing me any points in the end, but was probably foolish. And then Pryor, oh my God, this guy, like, these two both have the same problems where their disposal's not very good, and they're getting absolutely mauled defensively. Like, Pryor's like 30 metres behind a guy on a lead, making small forwards that aren't really marking targets look like marking targets, just getting he's getting pushed around and ragdolled, as is Reid. Reid was eaten alive this week. The problem with Pryor is that I think there's someone who could come in and take his spot, whereas Reid, they don't really have anyone else, so he kind of has to go again. It's probably a slow burn. He's not getting a lot of chip mark either, Reid, anymore, so I'm a bit concerned. But yeah, he's well off the pace. Probably needs he needs a season to just eat and put on bulk muscle so that he can stop getting like ragdolled, I think. But yeah, Pryor, we have downgrade options for Pryor, so it's not like a super big concern, but I think he may hold one more week, but we'll see. He'll be gone after that if not. And then into the midfield, Brayshaw, he lost his CBAs because they used O'Meara to tag Heaney, which was effective in the end, but they lost the game. I still think that, I don't think tagging, obviously Heaney's very good, but the threat of him going forward, I don't think it's worth shuffling one of your best midfielders out of the midfield for that. So I was a little bit surprised by that. He only had 20 or so possessions, so the accumulations is a concern, but his points per possession is really good, so that's a positive. Has West Coast this week. I presume they're not going to tag West Coast. That would be shameful, I would go as far to say. So I'm expecting a bounce back from Brayshaw. Not quite confident enough yet to put the C on him, but yeah, I'm expecting a bounce back. He'll be better than this. And then Petrarca, oh my God. Having to relive this game is pain as a Melbourne supporter, but just watching the coach not understand the problem with why we're losing. So we were getting belted around the ball. I'll talk about that more when I get to the rucks, but essentially Cherry just dominated Gawn, and that led to a massive clearance ascendancy for North, which is why they were able to score so easily against Melbourne. So that was a double whammy because firstly, Petrarca didn't get his hands on the ball that much, and when he did early, he butchered it. So like realistically, this probably could have been a 95 with a little bit better ball use earlier, but alas, didn't pan out that way. But then secondly, the delivery strategy was to just sit it on Charlie Comben's head, and instead of lowering the eyes, the coach decided to put the best player on the ground for Melbourne into the forward line. So that resulted in Petrarca not seeing the footy at all again, which was, as I said, a double whammy. So that was really frustrating. I really hope that Melbourne don't persist with that because they just need him around the ball. So yeah, that was tough, but it is what it is. You're not going to nail all your C's, but having it early, your rank fluctuates a lot more with a bad C early, which is why it feels so painful, but it is what it is. And then Jordan Dawson, didn't want to go to C here because I was a little bit concerned that Durham would be used to tag Dawson, as they used him to tag Will Day last week. So Not sure why they went that way, but Dawson was excellent. A little bit underscored in my opinion, but I am a biased owner, so take that with a grain of salt. But yeah, Dawson was fantastic. Really enjoying owning Dawson. And then Oliver was really good this week. Probably one of about 2 Melbourne players that tried the whole game. So that was a nice little positive. But everyone has Oliver, so it doesn't really matter. And then Chera, 113, does seem like he's getting thrown behind the ball later in games. I'm not sure why that is, because to be honest, he's the second best performing midfielder behind Cripps. Like, Hewitt's doing all right, but I just don't understand. Obviously Carlton are looking for a user off half back, but I think moving Chera out of the midfield to do that isn't the solution. Yeah, I don't know. The Melbourne and Carlton both have no kickers, so it makes these rotations a little bit weird. But anyway, I'm not here to talk about the failings of clubs. So anyway, moving on. Nathan O'Driscoll played a lot of wing this week. He lost a lot of his CBAs, as did Brayshaw for O'Meara, going in there to tag Heaney. Don't expect to see that this week, so the CBAs should uptick a little bit until Hayden Young comes back. But as you can see with this 95, he can score on the wing. So yeah, he was terrific, really good with ball in hand and a terrific player. And then Xavier Lindsay was really good on that wing, really composed, racks up the footy a lot. Probably Melbourne's only good kick on the day. So yeah, he was really good, and I would be strongly advising you to get Lindsay if you don't have him. I think he has very good job security. He's outperforming Langdon and outperforming Sharp. So if Billings was to come in, Lindsay's not going to lose his spot for him. So yeah, big fan of Lindsay. And then Nevitt I had on field over Sardis, which did cost me a couple of points in the end, but it's not the end of the world. Yeah, he was fine. Just had a lot of clangers early, which killed his scoring. So yeah, his role's still quite good. I think he played a little bit more wing this game, but I don't know. It's just Geelong was trying things after Stewart went down, etc. So it is what it is. And then Finn O'Sullivan, I think he is a must trade out. Well, he's obviously break-even 19. He's not yet, but he's going to be one you're going to want to move on. He's taking kick-ins, but he just can't accumulate. Like, he does some really great things, but just not an accumulator, which means he's not going to score Supercoach points that well, particularly not behind the ball. So he's one I'm keen to move on. And then Sardis, it turns out he fractured his hand in the warm-up. So it looks like he's going to miss this week, but he was much better this week. He's a good accumulator extractor, but doesn't tackle and can't kick. Parrish is coming back after the bye, it looks like. So I think they play Sardis at least once more. He's got a low break even. I'm willing to hold on to him for those 2 weeks, but I'm not optimistic he's going to hold his spot beyond that. And then Camporeale got subbed out. I think he's going to be okay job security wise. The Doherty's become a bit of a whipping boy for Carlton, which is a bit sad in my opinion, but I don't know. I think they have to persist with Camporeale. I don't think Binns or Lord is going to take his spot, but look, if he can go 50 odd, even getting subbed out, that's fine. He's going to make enough cash. He just has to have one game where he doesn't get subbed out. Carlton still have a pretty soft run. Like, Dogs this week's probably not great, but then, Collingwood's not ideal either. But then they get West Coast. I think North's here, yeah. So it's a pretty good run. I'm okay with Camporeale. I don't think he's must-have, though, if you don't have him. And then Gawn got absolutely destroyed in the ruck by Cherry. The coach made some comments after the game that suggested that something may have happened in Max's personal life, so obviously hope he's okay. Does that mean that Tom Campbell gets a run this week? That's another can of worms that I don't want to address. Who knows? If Stewart plays, I have some flexibility here because I boosted thinking that he would be out for a considerable amount of time. Also to get Ashcroft on field because Flynn was out, which may or may not be an issue this week. We'll get to that. But yeah, Gawn was really poor. Again, hope he's okay. Has a tough matchup this week against Wits, which if he plays, I'm just going to cop that because then we get Geelong, Essendon, who I don't believe have been too difficult to score against in the ruck this year. And then we get Freo's tough, but then we get Richmond and West Coast. So those are good matchups. This is the only 600k player I ended up starting, and it's the one that's hurting me the most. So that's interesting. It feels like the only guy above 600k that has been a good start at the moment has been Dunkley, who he's been going really well. So it is interesting with that. Normally we have more of those 600k guys. So like a Dacos or a Bond can go bananas at the start of the year, or a Butters. But yeah, it's just not happening this year. So, and then Koning just fell away in this game. I'm not sure. Got stuck on the bench for like 10 minutes in I want to say the third quarter. Yeah, I don't know. He's a terrific player though, so happy to back him in. Boyd didn't play. I think I feel like Keeler had some sort of injury problem at one point in this game. So I don't know, maybe he gets a call up. But we will see. I'm not optimistic about that. And I don't mind having the loop, to be honest. So it is what it is. And then in the forward line, Horn Francis. Oh my God. This is why I didn't want to pick him. But the thing, like, obviously that's captain hindsight, but he does have these games where he's just more interested in like scrapping with the opponent. It's kind of like Harley Reid. They just have games where they're more interested in having cheap shots at each other and giving away free kicks. They're not actually interested in winning. So I think there was a part of that this game. I don't know if that's why Hinkley sent him to the forward line. That might have just been, hey, look, we're playing against Richmond. It's a long season. We're going to rest you up forward a little bit. We're going to give some other guys a run through the middle. So Willie Rioli went through there a lot. I believe Willem Drew had higher CBAs as well. So I don't know if that was a factor, but Horn Francis was one of the lowest scorers in this game. And yeah, he just looked completely disinterested, which is a concern. But again, I think you just have to hold him. He's got Essendon and St Kilda coming up. So these should be good matchups. We just hold. Then Jack McRae, if you put the C on him, well done. He's absolutely back to his best, and he will be a big captain option this week against Richmond. So awesome to see him going well. Bailey Smith, we heard on Friday night, was going to be a late out with a calf injury that he picked up, or a calf tightness that he picked up on last Saturday, after his game. Not overly concerned about that, so I was happy to hold. Trading him without knowing the severity was very risky, and I think you may get punished if he's a test this week, so it looks like you are going to get punished. But yeah, Smith, not worried about that. It's a massive let-off for non-starters, but that's okay. I had Davidson to cover. I'll talk about Davidson later, but it didn't lose too many points in the end. And then Daniel just chopped up my side, so yeah, it was really good. And then Pal Pepper, this is why we hold. So Sardis and Pal Pepper, I think I said last week that they were better holds than O'Sullivan. And this is why. So Sardis, obviously we've seen the scoring potential, and then Pal Pepper just has a soft fixture. And he cashed in. The poor score is only going to be in his cycle for 1 week. So if he can cash in on Essendon and St Kilda, he's going to make good cash, and he's probably going to make it pretty quickly in the end. And then Max Hall was poor. I think he just had a really bad ratio, but I expect he'll hold in a win, and with Richmond coming up. I think they like Hall going forward, so very happy to hold. Probably going to run him on field this week. I'll discuss that when going through like captains and stuff. But yeah, and then Hewitt started off really well, was on like 43 or something at half time, which I wasn't expecting. That's why I had him on the bench. I thought it'd be a really tough matchup. But yeah, he was all right. He's just going to tick along. Might be a little bit of a slow burn, but I think he can get his average up into the 60s. They've had a couple of tough matchups to start, so yeah, I'm not worried about Hewitt. And then Davidson was really good. Just plays the wing role really well. So yeah, was wrapped with him. Got a good score this week, which is terrific. And then in the flex, Levi Ashcroft. So I boosted Flynn out after the Stewart news, thinking that I would need to make 5 total trades over the first 2 weeks to correct my team. Excuse me. I also wanted some more points on field because Flynn wasn't going to play. And I was looking at a Stewart 9, a Trainer 24, and a Hall 33, a Smith DNP, although I had Davidson coverage. And then the Nev at 58. So I was like, look, this is a game where in realistic terms, Ashcroft could go 100 if Brisbane get up. If Brisbane get up by a lot, which I thought they would. West Coast were really good, so that didn't eventuate, but he's still going to be an important rookie to have, so I'm not overly worried about that. And yeah, that's how I went this week. Copping the Petrarca C and having the Tom Stewart injury pretty painful, but it is what it is. It's a long season, so I'm not overly worried. So I think this week, obviously Roberts isn't playing. I'm going to have Pryor on field. I believe I can loop. Yeah, I can loop Reed and Trainer with Pryor. So we'll see how Reed goes on the Thursday night. And I'm going to trade Finn O'Sullivan, so we'll get into that in a second. So let's just do this for now. I should actually loop Nevitt. Who do I want to loop Nevitt with? I think I'll back Lindsay in on the G, so I will loop Nevitt and Ashcroft playing the same time. Annoying. I guess I'll do it with Lindsay then. Yeah, I guess we go like that. That is what it is. And then what will I do in the forward line? Like Hall against Richmond, Powell Pepper against Essendon, I also like. I don't mind Davidson against Carlton either. I actually don't hate any of these. I don't have any loops, so I don't know. This will probably come down to game time and team sheets. So yeah, it is what it is. Let's get into some trades. So the only one I'm doing at the moment is this, and I'm not actually a huge fan of this either at the moment. So I'll talk why I'm not sold on Connor O'Sullivan at the moment. I'm just not sure he is going to have good job security. Like, he was terrific on Saturday night, don't get me wrong, but Stewart looks like he's not going to be out for very long at all. It may be 1 or 2 weeks. And then Kolajasny comes back not next week, but the week after. Now, I would suggest that O'Sullivan should play over Mullen, but obviously they're different sizes. But then again, O'Sullivan's a really good athlete, so I doubt Geelong go that way, but that's something that to have in the back of your mind. The other thing I can do here, if I don't do this, is I can actually get Jack Henderson, who I think will hold his spot, and then I can just bunce Short off to Zorko, who is absolutely caning me at the moment at a 137.5 average, and his run just gets better. I don't love doing this. This is essentially a restructure in defense. So I'm dropping a Primo. Oh wait, no, I'm not. I've still got Roberts here. Never mind, I'm waffling, but I could also do this. It's not something I'm huge of, sidewaysing Short. Like, Short is a hold here. I do genuinely believe that, but I can see why you would be keen to get off. And Zorko's price is going to go up this week, whereas Short's probably not going to make a heap of cash from here. It just doesn't look like... There's no signs that Short is going to be a good pick at the moment. He's already lost kick-ins as well, so I am concerned about that. But I do think that... I don't think Short's an issue this week. I'll put it that way. But yeah, Finn O'Sullivan's definitely out for me. I'm just not sure what I'll do. I'm just going to... I don't want to change everything I've just done. Let's get him back in. But yeah, Finn O'Sullivan's the only real major correction I want to make this week. But yeah. And then, so the players that are killing me, Zorko has just the softest run coming up for halfbacks. I am of the belief that if teams are going to tag, they should tag Zorko, but Geelong doesn't have anyone that will keep up with him. Richmond sure as hell don't. The Bulldogs won't tag, although I'm not sure Norwood's a good oval for halfbacks. But the Dogs have also been a plus matchup for halfbacks in the past. Collingwood's a very plus matchup for halfbacks. Then St Kilda's the best matchup in the game for halfbacks. Gold Coast at the Gab is a good matchup. And then North. Oh my God, this is the most cupcake fixture. Melbourne. Oh. And then this is probably the first tough game. So I'm probably actually going to get Zorko in the end, which trading in a 36-year-old at 600k is concerning, but here we are. So Zorko's the one that's really killing me. Finn Callaghan had the bye this week. He is going very well. The reason I don't like Finn Callaghan is I don't think he's going to actually make that much money across the course. He's going to make a lot of money in the first week. I think they have a decent matchup this week as well. Oh no, it's Hawthorn. That should be a tough matchup. So I don't like Finn Callahan for that reason. The reason I don't think he's going to be a massive scorer, I think he's going to go 105-ish. I think his problem is he does not tackle. So he's very reliant on uncontested ball, which is not weighted as well in Supercoach compared to contested ball. And he doesn't tackle. So that's two big avenues for scoring that he doesn't really have access to this year, at the moment anyway. So that's why I'm not big on Finn O'Sullivan. The other one that's killing me is Rankin. Now, I got absolutely bailed out this week because Rankin got managed. He was on 100 or 95 at three-quarter time. He's got North this week. Gold Coast away is probably a tougher game, and then Adelaide at home. So the question for me is, am I going Zorko if I'm correcting short? Am I going Rankin? Or am I just holding the trade? I kind of want to get points on the field because I'm behind, so I am feeling like doing this. Said I wasn't going to do this, but I'm going to line up like this for now. I should have just started Zorko. That would have made my life a lot easier. Let me have Henderson. I'm going to do this for now. So I think Henderson will play. Yeah, and then I line up like this. Yeah, okay, I'm happy with this. Yeah, I think Henderson will play. I think he's got a good job security. One of the few players that Melbourne has that's going well at the moment. Applying good pressure, good below his knees, and I think his ball use has been pretty good as well. So I like Henderson. He doesn't have to do a lot to make money at this price. Melbourne has a soft fixture, although they're not really taking advantage of it, of course, because I support them, but it is what it is. Yeah, my other option is trading Gawn out for Cherry, but I think I just have to back Max in at this point. Cherry's got a tough fixture coming up, so... yeah, that's the recap for this week. Let me know what you think. A bit shorter this week. I didn't really want to go through all the games like I did last week because I don't think it's as relevant at the moment to go through every single option. A lot of options have already ruled themselves out. Oh, the other one I should talk about is Fraser, actually. Let's talk Fraser really quick. So, Fraser kicked a late goal that netted him about 40 points, which sounds ridiculous, but it was a go-ahead goal with about 5 minutes to go. And he was on 60 before then, and he spiked up to like 95 or something like that. He's scoring a lot in second halves, and he's getting scaling. So, I don't know, maybe all these matchups are matchups they can get scaling in. I just don't love it. I just don't love it. I do, if you wanted to go one of him or De Koning, would I go Fraser? I probably would. I don't know. It's a tough one. I would be avoiding both if I could. I don't think this scoring is sustainable. It's very scaling heavy, which historically isn't sustainable. So, yeah, I'm not interested in Fraser. Yeah, I don't think there's anything else to discuss. So, yeah, let me know how you went in the comments. I hope you nailed some captain options and didn't take my advice to go with Petrarca. Oh, I should talk captains this week. Sorry, I'm a mess. I'm very tired, if you can't tell. So, captains this week. I think if you've got Rosie, he's a good vice-captain option. I think there's a chance that with no Sardis, Durham gets more on-ball minutes, so Rosie could get tagged. It's probably okay. I don't think Rosie's a massive ceiling in this game anyway, so the thing I like doing with vice-captains is going for a big ceiling, so you could look at De Koning. You could go Petrarca again, although I'm not keen on that. I think McRae's got a good ceiling. So the way I'm going to go this week is I'm going to go McRae into Dawson. Because I want McRae in my captain's option every week at the moment, and he has probably the best matchup in football. And then Dawson has North, who aren't tagging. So, yeah, that's really good. I think you could look at Dunkley as well if you owned. He's probably, I think... my top captain's options of the week, if I had 5, it'd be 1 McRae, 2 Dunkley, 3 Dawson, and 4 probably Sarong. I don't think West Coast will tag. And then 5, I'd probably go to Koning. Because English is a good matchup. So that's how I'm going this week. I'm going a little bit safer with captain's options with 2 that I like instead of going for ceiling onto Koning. That's probably not really a great play, but I think McRae is going to go well enough that I can just take this. I also need to... Oh, I can't loot this week, I think. Let's assume Boyd won't play. Let's do that. Yeah, let's line up like that. Okay, sorry, I was just setting up these captains. Oh no, I can't do that anyway. I can't captain him. Ooh, maybe I can't loot this week. I can't do this week. Oh, I have Roberts. What am I saying? Okay, so I can captain's loop. Yeah, let's do that. Yeah, okay. Sorry, I'm a scatterbrain tonight. So yeah, this is how I'll go. See, we're going to Roberts if McRae goes well. As I said, McRae's my number 1 captain's option this week. I'm going to say the next one is Dunkley. And then I'm going to go Dawson, Sarong, De Koning. So look for those in your captain's options. You could probably go Dale, but I'm not brave enough for that yet. And yeah, let me know how you went in the comments below. I hope your week went a lot better than mine. And best of luck for this week. See you guys.